There is no one person around the world that don't like New York.
And there's the opening goal for Milan. Lescott is making his way into the area. Massimo Perrone. Delivering Haaland. He was always going to win that one.
Hello and welcome to the Yankees Stadium. We're in the US, we're in our second place now, New York, and look at the setting for tonight's game against AC Milan. There'll be some legends joining me pitchside, but for now I'm going to deliver the team news straight away for you here on Matchday Live. The starting lineup is our captain is Edison, Sissoko, Jemai Simpson-Pusi, Doyle, Rico Lewis, Perrone, O'Reilly, McAtee, Oscar Bob, Jack Grealish, and our number 9, Erling Haaland. The City substitutes, there is a lot of them. I will read them out for you. Ortega, Carson, Phillips, and a return for Kovacic and Josko Vardiol on tour now. Wright, Katongo, and Dala, Galvez, Aboado, and Bete, Jaden Heskey, Omar Fata, Mafuni, Hamilton, Samuel, Knight, and Josh Wilson Esbrand. We're going to head to the studio for now. Natalie Pike is waiting with Keith Curle and David James, and we will see you pitchside here very soon.
Thank you so much to FG. A big welcome to Matchday Live. City are taking on AC Milan. It's an 11 p.m. kickoff here in the UK. You can watch the game live on City Plus. Wherever you are in the world, check the website, find out where you can watch it. But in the UK, certainly, it is City Plus for the whole game. But of course, you've got us for the next hour. And I'm so happy to be joined in the studio by two of our absolute favourite Matchday Live guests. Don't tell everybody else. It's Keith Curle and David James. Hello.
Hello. Good evening.
Nice to see you. Yes, good evening. Good evening. Yes, lovely to see you both. How was your summer?
I've got to say busy, decorating, golfing, and celebrated 10 years sober.
Congratulations.
Loads of sparkling water everywhere.
Sparkling water was my absolute favourite, Keith. I would have been there with you. And how was your summer, David?
Better than yours.
Oh, why?
Well, we got to the final.
Oh, yeah. OK, great. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I
didn't win it, though, did you?
OK, enough of that. Yeah, no, it was really good, thank you. I spent a month in India covering the Euros, got out to the final, and then went back home to do a month of gardening.
Oh, well, I got out to the Euros to watch Scotland, and I was there for the Switzerland game with my dad, which obviously was the only game where Scotland got a point. So it was good. We picked a good one, and we saw Scotland score a goal. Massive deflection, but we saw it.
Yes. Progression.
Exactly. Exactly, Keith. Thank you very much. And then before we know it, of course, we are back. I think, I'm going to say it's 60 days, 61 days, something like that, since the FA Cup final, since the end of the season, since the parade where we were lifting the 4th Premier League trophy in a row. We've had the Euros, and now we are back. Pre-season is here. So this is our second game. We had the Celtic game. Did you catch the highlights? What did you make of it?
Caught the highlights, saw the goals, and again, it's probably different when you've been in football and the mention of pre-season. You think about what it was like as a player and the physicality regime that put you through before you even got to playing games would keep you up at night. But it has changed nowadays. So I remember pre-seasons when like 6-mile runs, 7-mile runs, up and down sand dunes. Like now it's more position specific, more game based. Whereas before it was brutal.
Shaun Wright said that yesterday, that it was pre-season was go, run, have a break, run some more, have a little break, run a bit more, run a bit more.
It was a mental test. It wasn't, because you think like, well, going on a 6-7 mile run as a footballer, you're thinking, well, I'm not continuously going to run for 6 miles and not uphill. But why are you doing it? But again, I think different clubs, different managers throughout the time have had different ideas, and gradually it's getting more and more football-orientated, football-based. We used to hate watching the goalkeepers do pre-season. They used to do 2 days of physicals, and then they were playing hand-eye coordination with the ball. And the outfield players absolutely legging it.
Oh, I wonder if you wish you were playing these days, Keith, or what would have been easier or harder? We're seeing the goals from the Celtic game, David. A standout performance from Oscar Bobb in that game.
Absolutely, and what's interesting is that he played the whole game. And as FG announces the lineup there, he started again with Rico Lewis. So it's interesting. We mentioned pre-season with this game in particular. Celtic, from my understanding, had a very strong side out at the beginning. City, as the guys watching will know, have got a very different squad in a sense to what would be going to Wembley, at least for the Community Shield. I mean, there's a lot of youngsters involved, and I think this is the thing that Keith might have been touched on as well, is that you've got so much opportunities to experiment with players and teams and starting lineups. Celtic were very good in that first half. Kasper Schmeichel in particular was very good in that first half from what I saw in the highlights, and fresh off a new move and a half-decent Euros, it made Celtic look like a really, really good team who did play well, but as the second half showed, City, with a few more experienced players coming on, getting into the groove. The results don't matter too much, it's the performances, and as I say, the fact that Rico Lewis and Oscar Bobb, two players from last season who, Oscar Bobb in particular, I have to say, because he is now one of my little favourites.
Is he?
Yeah.
OK.
As we see him here, you go on, you score, Peroni, thank you very much. No, it's just, again, you kind of, as a player, I think, especially as a young player, the more you get to be involved in pre-season, the more you believe that you might be involved come the start of the real season.
It's a massive opportunity for them to be involved in and around the first team environment, and again, this will be interesting to see how they handle it with the expectations on them in pre-season to go and perform and impress the manager, the coaching staff, and also the other professionals that are there as well, because you do get sometimes when you get young lads, do they conduct themselves in the right way? Is their preparation spot on? Are they able to focus on what's in front of them on a daily basis? Because they do give a team a lift as well. You know, that energy around in pre-season, you need that.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's why so many fans are so excited about this pre-season in particular, because there's so many of those young players. We're getting to see them. Celtic had 3 or 4 pre-season friendlies before this. Obviously, this was our first. We're going into this game, though. This is AC Milan's second pre-season friendly, so it feels like perhaps it might be a little bit more even.
I wasn't covering this game, so I didn't know anything about Celtic's pre-season, but they look like a team that had a few games.
Yeah.
As I said, they had a lot of experience. I thought that was offside when I first saw it. But
the Scottish Premier League starts. The Premiership starts, I think, the 3rd or 4th, so it's like 2 weeks before us.
Yeah,
so they had to be.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they had to be. In terms of the team for tonight, we've got Oscar Bobb, Jack Grealish and Erling Haaland, the sort of senior players again, Rico Lewis as well. I'm really excited to see James McAtee as well. Pep had mentioned him in one of the press conferences, in the Celtic press conference, and I know a lot of City fans have really been hoping that James McAtee was going to get a chance in the first team. Yeah,
definitely. And I think it's a perfect opportunity for him to go out and impress in a first-team setting in pre-season. Again, I think James just touched on it there. Is it about the results this stage of the season? No, it's not. It's an opportunity for young players to impress the manager within the environment.
I think on that note, because last pre-season, McAtee had some opportunities. And there were a couple of times where he was trying to impress himself, and I think that was slightly his undoing. Hopefully, that 1 year, a season away from the City team itself, will allow him to think, well, this time now, become more of a team player. And I don't mean it in a bad way, because obviously you want to show you're good enough, but just those little glimpses, you see Oscar Bobb running in, rather than shooting, there's a pass and a goal scored. Those kind of things, I think, are what the manager is looking at. How are you going to fit into the team as a team player rather than just an individual?
And you think as well, you think the manager is going to use this now to plot the development of those players as well. So say, do they keep? Are they kept in and around the squad? Do some players need to go out on loan? And how much can you progress a player? And again, you find out a lot about players in a first-team environment. which can be massive.
Yeah, definitely. And there's so many of the young players in the team that have been out on loan and are back. And it feels like sort of for James McAtee, obviously he's had 2 years at Sheffield United. It feels like, okay, I really want to see you now. Are you going to be a Manchester City player? So I'm really looking forward to seeing him. In terms of on the bench as well, we know that Vardiol and Kovacic joined up with the squad a few days ago. They are on the bench, but are you thinking perhaps we might get to see them second half, David?
Yes. Simple answer.
Full 45 minutes?
I doubt they'll get 45 minutes, but I would imagine they'll come on at some point. It'd be good. I mean, it'd be good. It's a waste of time going out to the US if you're not going to get game time, and there's not many games before the Community Shield, is there?
The thing is that they all have had off-season plans as well, physical plans, but there's nothing better than playing football as well. So as long as they've adhered to their off-season plans with the games that they've had as well, the steam might have gone out of the game in the first half, so it's a great opportunity then second half or some period of the second half to come in and get minutes in the game. Yeah,
because I think they only joined up with the team 2 days ago. But yes, perhaps we'll see them in the second half. In the Celtic game, we saw, I think it was 14 academy players come on and play some minutes, which again, as a fan, is just so exciting. Do you think tonight, Keith, we will see as much rotation as we did in the Celtic game?
Yeah. I think it will be about getting minutes into certain players. The introduction. I don't think Haaland will play 90 minutes again today. But no, the strength and conditioning coach and the analysts, they will be saying about how many minutes, because it's all got to be progressive. When you go back for pre-season, you don't want to be fit for pre-season. Pre-season is there to get you fit, to get you up to match tempo, so to make sure when the season starts, even then you're not fit at the start of the season, it's still a progression into probably 5, 6, 8 games.
We're just seeing shots, Keith. I was a bit distracted of, obviously, it's Zlatan, AC Milan legend in his own mind as well, totally, eh, David?
He was also Dicko there as well, with the glasses on. He gets everywhere.
He was at the European Championship final as well.
Oh, what did you speak to him?
I said hello.
Have you ever played against him?
Why'd you have to bring that up?
I'm asking. Have you? Because I feel like I've stumbled.
The score.
Yeah, they won 1-0. It was and a cheeky back flick as well. But the ball was really greasy.
For England or domestically?
For England, yeah. I think he's probably scored against the most English goalkeepers, because he scored against Joe Hart, if you remember, with the overhead kick from 30 yards.
Yes.
Yes, not a bad player in his day.
Not a bad player, and of course he is there. I wonder if it's really interesting. I wonder who else might be there watching. But yes, Zlatan is there. Of course, AC Milan, one of the sort of legendary football clubs around the world. If you asked people to name famous football clubs, I'm sure AC Milan would be one of the names that comes up. So an exciting game all round for the fans, for the players, for the academy players. I mean, I bet the American fans like that can't believe it.
And I feel for the academy players coming through for their progression to play against a team with the stature that you're thinking, go and express yourself. Go and enjoy yourself, go and express yourself, understand what the manager, what the coaches want from you, which shows then that you're a team player, but express yourself. Great opportunity.
If I don't see a selfie, by the way, of Zlatan and FG by the end of the day, I'm going to be hugely disappointed with him, because he usually is excellent with his selfies. Now, David, everybody knows that you are the official MatchDay Live stato. You carry your own book that you write your own stats in. So I'm wondering what you've learned about AC Milan for us.
No.
I was thinking of doing loads of stuff, but the problem is inherently it's pre-season, the second game in, loads of new players granted, but there's no rhythm to anything to hang your stat hat on.
Okay.
Domestically, where did they finish last year?
Second,
yeah.
But they were a good 19 points behind.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned them. I mean, again, I think this is the thing with the pre-season games. Playing Celtic is good. It was and again, it's an experienced or a pre-season experienced side. But for the young players to know that supporters know the team that they're playing against, with, as you say, that kind of history and pedigree. I mean, look them out there, and playing in that stadium as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I've played in New York. I played at the Giants Stadium back in the early 2000s. And it was a weird thing because football didn't really have the sort of gravitas that it has at the moment. And look, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Superb. So, yeah, just to play against this AC Milan side, have that as a feather in your cap. Yeah, what an opportunity.
So AC Milan have a new manager, so this will be his second game in charge. I'm guessing then that he will be using this pre-season as a way to get to know his team, for his team to get to know his style, to implement his style. How important is pre-season, Keith, when you are a new manager joining a club?
When the games have started, when you're managing lower league, the first couple of games you're trying to thin out the trialists that have been in the building, but you have to, the ones that have been gone through and you've seen enough to get them game time, but then you have to say, right, well, now try and play in your head's team shape. And it's a case of you've got to give them the opportunity to go and play competitive football. So it's usually one or two games. The first 1 or 2 games is a case of like thinning the ones out and say, right, well, these are going to stay on. In your preparation, normally you have a progression. In your lower league, you have a progression in the standard of the opposition that you play. First game, it's just basically just a run around that you're chasing the football. Knowing that I used to hate playing pre-season games against lower league opposition because centre forwards don't do what centre forwards are meant to do. When you go and play in the league, they run all day. And they make silly runs. You think like centre forwards wouldn't make that run, but they used to. And probably playing as a centre back, you couldn't have a rest when you're playing because it's like the opposition's they're playing against Man City, and it's one of those like, their chance to impress, and they gave everything, even though some of them playing part time and they've done a day's work, and then they're playing against Man City. So the game's vitally important for getting minutes. Not vitally important result-wise, but when you've got a manager like Pep, you know that winning mentality will be an opportunity to ebb it into the younger players, as in everything counts, everything matters for them.
Yeah, absolutely huge opportunity for them. We're seeing the AC Milan team arriving now. The names that we probably would know: Loftus-Cheek, Tomori, Christian Pulisic, who obviously is American as well. So this is a huge night for him. They, similar to City, they have quite a few players that are not with the squad yet because of their Euro commitment. They've bought a couple of players that are not with the squad yet as well. But in terms of the players that we know, anybody you're particularly looking out for? I'm guessing, Loftus-Cheek, given the fact that we all know him from his Chelsea time.
Yes, because I also think he's a fantastic player, not just because we know him. I mean, this is a side, and I think they made a complete change at half-time. There's Pulisic there. Looks like his hair's grown out. They made a complete team change in the second half against Austria Vienna. Was it Austria Vienna?
Rapid Vienna.
Rapid Vienna, forgive me. So again, without having the team sheet in front of me, it'll be interesting to see how they start up. I mean, the one thing I don't know if Italy are in the Olympics.
Oh, I don't know.
Because Alvarez is in the Olympics with Argentina, and these are other little factors which the manager has to look at. It's like, okay, we talk about McAtee. Maybe McAtee gets a few more minutes because Alvarez might not be ready for the Chelsea game. The Community Shield game. Things like that, which Pep has to tinker with. As I say, I don't know if Italy in the Olympics, but there'll be players which aren't, as you say, these players get an opportunity. So in very much the same way they get the chance that the City players have got to impress, and Zlatan's watching as well, so no pressure for them.
I feel like we could do an entire show on Argentina's first Olympic game, but I think maybe we'll just stay away from that. Interesting game that Argentina had. Thinking about Christian Pulisic, being American, playing his domestic football in Italy, and coming back for pre-season, back to his home country, it's going to be a really special night for him, Keith.
Yeah, definitely. They're all professional players, and when they cross the pitch, they go into work mode. But he will want to put on a good performance, a solid performance. But again, it's still pre-season. He just want valued minutes in pre-season, which is. Everybody wants to have a couple of 90 minutes during the pre-season games. The first couple of games, you don't mind getting a little run out. but you want to be building up. 90 minutes is 90 minutes, and then it's about not only just playing the 90 minutes, it's how you're getting used to recover for the next couple of days' train as well, then being thrown into a game. You do more training in pre-season prior to games than you would do during the season.
Yeah, especially when you have as many games as we do. We are going to go back over very shortly to pitchside at the stadium to get the AC Milan team from FG. We're seeing pictures of Ederson there, David. We've heard the rumours all summer about Ederson leaving. Pep was asked about it in his press conference yesterday, and he very, very forthrightly said he would like Ederson to stay, but it is down to him. How important...
Is that what he said?
He did.
Oh.
He did. Why is your face gone like that?
Oh, I should have watched the press conference. Yeah, because I mean, there was rumours with his national team partner Ali all over summer that both of them were going to go play their football in somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I just always think that sometimes the way that the rumour mill works is that one person and someone else is associated with the other. The other international teammate of his, I think there was a flat denial that it was ever going to happen. Whereas when someone says it's their choice, it kind of leaves the door open to the speculation continuing. I hope he doesn't go anywhere.
Well, he's made him captain tonight. Ederson is the captain.
Yes, which is good, and he thoroughly deserves it. But yeah, I hope he stays. I mean, you know, I love Eddie.
Yes,
I do. Yeah.
You can't imagine many players going and knocking on Pep's door saying, "I want to go." Not of Ederson's calibre.
No, I'm not even going to get. I don't want to get involved in a conversation and add to the rumours.
But that's sometimes the easy way as a manager to say, look, if he wants to go, he can go. But I want him to stay.
Yeah. Anyway, he's playing tonight, captain, and he will do his usual superb best.
Thank you. Thank you very diplomatically.
Very protective of goal.
Very diplomatically there from the both of you. Thank you very much. Right, we are going to go back over now pitchside, where FG is going to give us the AC Milan team.
Yes, thank you very much. Welcome back to the Yankee Stadium. It's with great pleasure to say I've been joined by a couple of legends who are looking absolutely incredible. Shaun Wright-Phillips and Joleon Lescott. How's the day been?
Oh, amazing. We was at a rooftop event with some fans that had obviously dedicated their vacation holiday to come and celebrate and support the team. So yeah, it's a special day. It's been a good day so far.
And a word on where we are right now, Shaun. It's absolutely incredible, isn't it? We're looking behind us and there's so many sky blue shirts here.
You know what? It's more than incredible, FG. Like I've played there, Joleon's played there before. The lines, we didn't understand the lines. You couldn't play the offside trap properly, but it's completely different. It's a massive turnaround, and I'm seeing the crowd just pile in slowly and surely. So it's going to be an incredible game again. It is going to be an incredible game. I gave you the Manchester City team earlier on, and I've got the AC Milan team here for you. In goal is Torriano, and then it's Terriciano, Gabbia, Tomori, Calabria, Pabega, Benassa, Salamakers, Loftus-Cheek, Chukwueze and Colombo, and the substitutes will be on the screen for you as well. We're going to focus on the Man City team then. So it was the team that we actually saw, Shaun, in training. Well, we were so lucky. So did you listen then?
The open training, and I did
you
listen
then?
He predicted straight away that in the training session this would be the starting team, and lo and behold, Shaun Wright-Phillips was correct. We predict it's Rico Lewis at left back and Mamadou Sissoko at right back with Jamai at centre half. That back four is, I mean, that back three, the three of them are quite young, aren't they? And yeah, it's a very good opportunity.
Actually, they are very young, but at the same time, Jamai, he was probably our best player in the first game. He stood up to the challenge. He walked in to the situation that was in and embraced every moment of it. He was calm with it, collective, and it seemed like he did what Man City do all the time. People are going to follow that suit. He's set pace now in many ways. He's set the trend for them to follow. He's done it. Everyone will start feeling more and more comfortable. And me and Joe talk about it all the time. We're looking forward to seeing where they are, not just the first game, but the second game, the third game, and how far they progress. So that for me is the most important. And to coming out of pre-season with no injuries is even a bigger achievement.
Yeah, absolutely. And now the fourth one that I left out of that back four was Callum Doyle, because I wanted to ask you a bit more about him. He's been so impressive last season, playing in men's football, and it's another great opportunity for him.
Before last season, initially went on loan to Sunderland, and in respect to Callum, I don't think it was due to that was the progression path for him. It was due to maybe a restricted minutes in the 23s. He goes on loan, he does exceptionally well, and now he's progressed. So listen, he's not surprising anyone because he's obviously got a lot of talent, and he's doing exceptionally well for Leicester.
And the club captain, well, the captain today is Ederson. Erling Haaland starts, but Ederson is captain. How much of a show of... We heard it in the press conference from Pep saying he would love it if Ederson stayed. I think everybody, all City fans would love it if Ederson stayed at the club. But, I mean, it's a really nice touch, isn't it? And it's one that he deserves. He's won more Premier Leagues than any other goalkeeper in England, and he's a sensational goalkeeper.
Yeah, I don't think it's just for that sentimental value. I think it's due to the experience. He's important to the team. He's obviously... There's a restricted number of first-team players, should we say, playing today. So it would make sense that he's the captain. What is he? Slightly older than Erling as well. But yeah, again, he's an exceptional talent, an exceptional servant to the club. So yeah, hopefully he stays.
Let's talk about Oscar Bob, Shaun.
That's my guy.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I'm coming to you, because Oscar Bob has been absolutely fantastic in that game against Celtic, and he was fantastic last season. He's been fantastic every time he's played for Manchester City. I just want some words on him, because he played on the right-hand side, and every single person knows that when you're talking about the right-hand side of Manchester City, it's Shaun Wright-Phillips.
It's really strange, because the talent that he has, and you can see him anticipate in the way he plays, for me is incredible. Like, I always think about like his goal against Newcastle, for example, where KDB puts that ball in. People think about the finish. I think about his first touch and that little slight touch after that. For somebody of his age, that's way above, in many ways, his age. Like, he showed so much maturity, and since then he just keeps growing all the way through the season. Like, he's just an unbelievable player. I've got a lot of time for him, and like you said, I love wingers, don't I?
Yeah, you do indeed, and we can see the goal again on the screen right now, Joleon.
It's the touch, Joe. Look,
no,
there's another one.
But also, if you take it back before that, the intelligence to recognise who's in possession of the ball, make a run, because he will be able to find me. And then his first touch was nice, but like Shaun said, the second touch, which is slightly a reaction touch, that is when it will probably go underestimate the importance of...
Look at it.
That there. It's
and
like,
then he's got a little tickle where he just
that there.
throws it here. And
yeah. Exceptional.
That's maturity.
And that's the last minute of a game as well. That was at St James's Park.
No, that's clutch.
And that is
that's buzzer.
Is the definition. That's right?
On the buzzer.
On the buzzer. Oscar Bob on the buzzer. Let's talk about James McAtee as well. A player we spoke about in the first game so much. Of course, we really, really like him. We want him to do so well here. Done well, and it's another great opportunity for him.
Yeah, again, another opportunity. Manager obviously is one of his favourites. We associate it with the left foot, small midfielder, number 10 role. But again, exceptional talent. So if he performs well, we shouldn't be surprised, because he's an exceptional player. So hopefully he's able to just maintain and continue to grow and develop in the first team.
And a man in the first game who came on at half-time was Maxi Perrone. Maxi Perrone, we've not really seen much of him at all, but he looked really energetic, and he looked like he was getting himself around. He looked confident, and he looked like he starts today, and I'm sure he'll be out on the ball a lot.
Yeah, but if we go back to what Joel says, like, these young kids are here, like, the first team are here to get their minutes, get fit, and hopefully don't pick up any injuries. The younger generation have to come through. They have to impress. Like, I thought in that game he played really, really well, but you need to stay in the team. You can't just play well one game. It's like Joleon said again, sorry, but it's consistency. You have to be able to mentally and physically do this on so many more occasions.
And that's a left-footed finish as well, Joe.
Another left-footed, number 10. But again, his progressions probably hasn't been as fast as he would have liked. But listen, he's still very young. It's obviously a new culture, new country. So he's maintaining a level. When he does perform, when he does play, he performs well.
Now, I don't know if you know, on yesterday's show, I was attacked by a bee. Have you seen any wasps around here, mate? Because I'm starting to get a little bit nervous already. I genuinely think
you're nowhere in the city, right? So. No, listen. The bee was like this. I could see it out of my... Because when you play midfield, I don't know about defenders, you can see, like...
Peripheral.
Yeah, peripheral was there, innit? I could see it over there.
I could hear it.
I didn't say nothing, because I was like, okay, at some point it's going to fly away. he didn't fly away, bro. It came like...
I mean, I'm lucky to have Kimbers in my ear here as the Manchester City players come out behind us. Lovely atmosphere. It's absolutely great, isn't it? There's so much hype around here, isn't there?
Oh, of course,
the players come out.
Iconic stadium. Obviously, the lads are out now, so I'm sure that's only going to galvanise the fans to be more louder and more energised.
And again, back to what we were saying about the young players playing in an environment like this. Being so young in your career and coming to an arena like this, Shaun, it gives you so much added extra, doesn't it?
It's not just about the added extra. It's more about the experience, understanding what it takes to play at that level, understanding what it takes to play against people that are stronger and quicker than you. I think me and Joleon spoke so much through the game about the young kids. They need more lessons. The first game was a lesson. They're going to bounce back from that lesson as well. And I think they're going to grow in this game just like that.
Yeah, I mean, look, looking around us, behind us, we can see there's literally Zlatan Ibrahimovic stood behind us. There's so many like big names here to watch Manchester City and AC Milan.
I ain't gonna lie, I thought he was taller than that.
In here.
I thought he was bigger, honestly.
What's Zlatan?
Yeah, I thought he was bigger.
Listen,
I'm quite tall. I feel like I'm tall.
let's move on.
Right, I think on that note, what we'll do is we'll head back to the studio for now with Shaun Wright-Phillips saying he's tall. I'll leave this to you. For everyone in the studio. We'll leave it to David James, shall we?
FG, thank you so much. Gents, I've got to say, all three of you are looking particularly handsome this evening as well. But we've got a question about the socks. Because all three of you have got your socks at a different height. And we're wondering, who is the cool one?
Well, I mean, the only one who's the cool one here is the one that can hear you, and that's me. So we'll leave that answer to that. Apparently all of our socks are at different heights. I mean, Joleon, you can't argue with Joleon's or Shaun's.
I don't care what height our socks are. Do not question the drip. Never question. Never, ever. Natalie, never question it.
Handsome before he gets upset.
She said that I'm really handsome.
Who is? You. There's a lot of lies going on. Shaun's tall, FG's handsome. There's a lot of fabrication. There's a lot of fabrication going on here.
I'm in charge now, Natalie.
You're in charge. Right, FG, one last question. David James wants to ask you a question. You ready?
Yeah.
Go on, JMO.
FG, loving the look.
Go on, then.
You're looking athletic, dare I say. The one question, can you ask Shaun to go and pick me up a first edition Babe Ruth trading card?
Right, I need you to pick Keith up a first edition Beirut trading card.
Yeah. It's expensive.
Yeah.
We can't cover that.
Yeah, no.
We can't cover that.
We'll have to leave that to the boss then.
Yeah, we can't cover that.
Says I'm in with that one.
We'll stick with Joleon.
Thank you, guys. Bye. Bye, guys. I love the fact that FG's the only one that's got ears in that could hear us there, and yeah, Shaun and Joleon were oblivious.
Yeah.
But yes, much fun.
Just for the record, that's worth probably tens of millions.
I know who Babe Ruth is. Yes.
First edition trading cards worth tens of millions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully Shaun might just pick me on.
I think Shaun and Joleon have got tens of millions between them, David, so you might get it. You might get it. Lovely to see them there. The backdrop of that Yankee Stadium is so iconic, and the backdrop of where they were standing there is absolutely stunning. I cannot wait to see the game tonight in such an iconic stadium here. So, just to let you know, this season as well, we would love you to send us text messages and video messages. So you can now send us a video message. So there is a QR code on your screen now. Scan that and you can send us video messages. So just say, hey, ask the gents a question if you would like. Tell us how you think the game is going to go tonight, whatever you'd like. But we'd love to see your faces. This is a brand new thing for this season, and we'd love to see you all. Where are you in the world? So give that QR code a scan and send in your video messages to us. Now, the last time that we played AC Milan, gents, 10 years ago, it was July the 20th. Was it really July the 27th? No, that's 10 years ago to the day, isn't it? Wow. July the 27th, that has just clicked with me. That's been on my notes all night. 10 years to the day since we last played AC Milan. We ran out 5-1 winners in that game. Now, the fun thing about this is the starting 11 and the names that are on the bench as well. Some absolute iconic City players that were on the team back then. So you had Kolarov was in the team. Willy Caballero was the goalkeeper. Lots of names in the 11. On the bench, Joe Hart, Micah Richards, James Milner, Samir Nasri, Edin Dzeko, David Silva, Yaya Toure. So there was the bench was stacked, and there was a lot of names in the starting 11 as well. 5-1. I think we can have a look at some of the highlights from that game. But it just got us thinking about the development of this club in the last 10 years. When you think of some of those names, Keith, there that were on the bench and in the team, and honestly at that time I thought that was as good as it could ever possibly get for City, because those players were so phenomenal. In the 10-year development since this game has just been incredible.
It's been an upward spiral, a continual upward spiral. Just quickly going back to, when you the last piece when we were talking to FG, when you mentioned about the socks, and I've just looked at JMO's.
Oh.
And I'm like that.
I've been to Megacon in Manchester city centre today.
Okay.
And I was dressed in all sorts of different colours, and that's where I got my hat from, and the shirt.
Okay, so David James is in orange socks today.
Yes.
But are they pulled? They're not pulled up, though. So you're not as down with the kids as they are.
Because they're slightly different bands.
I couldn't wear orange socks.
JMO does what he wants, Keith. You should know that by now.
I thought you were going to match in hair colour there. It was,
that was Scott Sinclair.
Scott Sinclair had orange hair.
Ooh, audacious.
Oh. Yeah, like I say, you talk about the progression and the plotting.
No way! Jesus Navas, love that.
Like the plotting for success, or planning for success. I say the turnaround of quality players that have been fortunate enough to wear this club shirt. And been part of that progression. Unbelievable.
Jesus Navas there, I'm gasping that he's in that team, because obviously he's just won the Euros.
Just won the Euros, yeah, I was just thinking that as well.
And do you remember, I don't know if you heard in the Euros, JMO, did you hear that Jesus Navas is older than Yamal's dad?
Yes.
Love that stat. I love that stat. So that was him 10 years ago, and 10 years later. Obviously, Iniacho, who went on to have a great career with Leicester as well.
James Milner, who's recently signed for Brighton, isn't he? Brighton.
Still playing.
Yes.
Still playing James Milner as well. There's so many memories in this team. I noticed as well, the stadium's not sold out. 10 years on, the stadiums are sold out everywhere.
Yeah.
Which shows the progression.
I think you say, as Keith said, the upward spiral, the fact that City won 4 in a row in the Premier League, they've actually completely stamped their mark on English domestic football, and obviously with the success in Champions League as well. They are the real deal. These are phenomenal players, but weren't capable of doing what the current City team are doing regularly. So
it's given me so many lovely memories. Jovetic, obviously Kolarov, absolute City icon. Love him still, but it's given me so many memories. I can't believe it was 10 years ago.
I don't remember this game. I think I was in India.
Okay.
I was in India 10 years ago. Wow.
You're back with us, so you can now see David James's orange socks that Keith was mentioning as well. So, yes, we played them 10 years ago to the day, and we beat AC Milan 5-1. Honestly, there's his socks there, just so you go. There we go. Yeah, and he's wearing blue trainers and orange socks, because David James does what he wants. Did you not go in full costume?
No, I'm funny enough you mentioned New York. New York does one of the best comms in the world, and it's, I think, in 2 days' time. So if the guys are there, then maybe they'll be able to pop in. But I plan on going next year and making my own costume.
Amazing.
Yes.
I just feel like there's so many questions we could ask about that, but we've got to go back over to the Yankee Stadium, because FG is with New York City's manager, Nick Cushing.
I am indeed, and we'll talk about them orange socks in a minute, David James. We're not surprised by them, but we are joined by Nick Cushing. Nick, thank you so much for joining us again.
Problem.
You joined us yesterday. First things first, this arena, you play here quite often, so this is the normality for you now.
Well, I actually haven't had a game where it's at capacity, but yeah, we play here every week, and it's a pretty special, questionably the most iconic stadium in the world, so it's a special place.
Of course, the stadium is getting built for New York at the minute. Let's just talk to the people about New York City as a whole, the growth of football here. There's so many sky blue shirts. You're doing a great job. You've got a massive game coming up as well next. Just let's tell the people about New York City.
Yeah, you know, we're quite a young team this year, but we're pushing. We're in a good position in the league. We got a new stadium coming, you know. We've got the World Cup coming. There's a big hype around soccer in America.
There is, absolutely. I mean, you've got a massive game coming up as well. Me and Shaun had the pleasure of speaking to you yesterday about that in detail, but we'll tell Joleon and the MatchDay Live people about the game. It's massively important because it's against a team that's from Mexico, and there's a lot of hype around the fixture.
Well, anytime America goes against Mexico, it's a pretty competitive game. So you can see when the national teams go against each other, it sort of swings either way, which teams win. And now we got the competition with Liga MX. So, you know, it's last year was the first year, and it was a really competitive tournament. Miami won it. This year, you know, the Mexican teams won it. Everyone wants to win it. So.
From players' perspectives, Joleon, you don't have to hype yourself up for games like that, do you?
No, obviously, when it means more to the fans, as a player, you can kind of use that as energy to motivate yourself. So, yeah, they'll be aware of how much it's going to mean to the community that they live in, that they spend time in. So, yeah, they'll be right up for the game.
Now, we were obviously so lucky to be with Nick yesterday at the open training session. Shaun actually predicted the starting lineup based on what he was seeing. So, potential coach in the making?
Well, listen.
No, Nick, don't say that.
Listen, you know.
I like my hairline. It's not happening.
It is one of those professions that you know, everyone really wants to do, but when you're in it, you think, why did I choose this job?
It looks to me like a tough job. I think the difference between, say, when me and Joleon was growing up, Sunday League coaches, growing up through the academies and to first team, the level are completely like left and right. So for me, I don't think I would be able to deal with that. Plus, I'm quite a laid-back person, so if things are going wrong on the pitch, I'm not someone to stand up and shout. I just wait till they get back in. So it may look like sometimes I don't actually care about what's going on, but that isn't the case.
You go through the process, right? You go through the process of, like, taking it really personal and trying to fix the problems, and then realising that actually you got to do your work through the week, and on match day it's over to the guys on the field.
And Joleon, we can't leave you out of this conversation about coaching because you've done a fantastic job previously.
Yeah, one job, one win, so yeah, not too bad. No, I'm joking. The obsession that you guys have to have, the attention to detail, like as a player you have to dedicate a lot of your life to being a player and to being professional. But as coaches, they have to dedicate more than that. You win a game, you can't celebrate, you have to review the game, prepare for the next game. So there's so much that goes into coaching that I'm not ready to commit to. But I admire all coaches because it's a lot of hours.
It absolutely is. Now, I mean, earlier on in your coaching career, you were coaching some of the players that are playing for Manchester City today. The likes of Micah Hamilton, players that you know. Who is it that you're most looking forward to seeing today?
Yeah, Micah, definitely I've seen him, you know, introduced a little bit last year. Obviously, James McAtee was a guy that I had like for many years and seen as a 5-year-old up to like 10, 12. So, yeah, I think when you're coaching in the academy, you don't really see 10 years, 12 years time. So to actually still be part of the organisation and to see it, it's pretty unique, and I'm proud of those boys being involved in the first team now.
That's wicked.
And now from a player's perspective as well, Shaun and Joleon, you're always going to remember your coaches fondly from young as well.
100%. That's something that never vanishes. Like you know the key moments that, say, a coach said something to you that made you play just that slightly bit different, that helped your game and improves you as not just on the pitch but as a person off the pitch. I think people forget how much of a role that coaches have in a player's growth. They think it's just on the pitch. It's like, no, you need to be on training on time, you need to do what you need to do on time. It's like a schedule that only exists because of people like Nick.
Yeah, well, Nick, you've done an absolutely fantastic job. We can't wait to see more. Let's talk about the women's team as well in Manchester City that you were a manager of. We've seen the growth of the women's game so much. We've seen, of course, the stadium named the Joy Stadium, and we also saw like a massive moment at the end of last season where an absolute legend in football retired, Steph Houghton. And I know you know Steph well, so let's have a word on Steph.
Yeah, I think, you know, as a coach, you're only really as good as the characters that you've got in your dressing room, and when you have characters that do much more than just play the game, that they are leaders, they manage the locker room for you, they help you in many different ways, they are worth their weight in gold, and she was that for me. She was a top performer, but also a huge character in the locker room. So I think someone will have to fill that void. But we've got characters, Alex Greenwood, those type of players, right, are gonna really step forward now without Steph. But I'm sure she'll be involved in some way. She's so important to our football club.
Yeah, and you're so important to this setup here, and you've done absolutely amazing stuff at Manchester City. So thank you so much for everything you've done. Thank you for joining us. Now, I don't know if you remember, Joleon, we played a game last time with Shaun. And it was sort of, you know, stay quiet until you hear someone who's faster than him. He was quiet for quite a while. We're going to change it up a little bit. They want to play a game with you, Shaun, but I'm going to do it with you, Joleon, all right? It's going to be a blind ranking of AC Milan players.
Okay.
Okay? So we're going to do 1 to 10, all right? And we're gonna do that. So I'm just going to remind you. It's 1 to 10, blind ranking. But for now, I'm keeping you on your toes, and we're heading back to the studio. But I'm just getting you ready to warm up, and maybe if you want to ask some tips off the main man, Nick, or Shaun, you can. Well, let's just address the elephant in the room. We're on the screen in the studio. David James' socks, Shaun.
J-Mo, you know I love you, but that is you. You're just you do random things like that. That's just what David does. He's always been like, it'll never change. And I think that was a part of his makeup as a goalkeeper and to the human being he's become now.
Nick,
No comment.
Tell the truth.
No comment.
well, I wouldn't say a bad word about you, David James, but you did question our drip, and I'm just going to say that I think all of our socks are a little bit better, but let's head right to the studio.
Wow. She's definitely pushed his socks down, hasn't he? Oh, I love that. Thank you so much there. It was lovely to hear from Nick Cushing as well. And of course, FG, Shaun, Wright-Phillips and Joleon Lescott pitchside there in the Yankee Stadium. We'll be going back there very shortly, and we're going to get Joleon to do the blind ranking of the AC Milan legends. And it's a list of legends as well. I want to go on and talk about some of the academy players, but just quickly, David, you have played AC Milan before, so you played them when you were at Portsmouth. Oh no, I don't know what the score was. I just know that you played them.
Yeah, I think it was Europa League.
Okay.
We were 2-0 up with 10 minutes to go. And they brought on this guy, I don't know if you've heard of him, Ronaldinho.
Oh, yeah.
He had a free kick, I don't know, 25 yards out, and decided to bend it in the top corner to make it 2-1. And then a guy called Inzaghi decided to equalise with a couple of minutes to go, so we ended up drawing 2-2. But if you are, and I was with Portsmouth fans yesterday at a charity golf do, and you mentioned winning a cup. I mean, it's funny, you mentioned 10 years ago, what we were seeing there from 10 years ago, and what City fans thought, as you said, was the highlight of potentially of your City supporting career. Well, the FA Cup for a lot of Portsmouth fans has been that. Hopefully we'll get better. But having Ronaldinho come to Fratton Park was something that Portsmouth fans thought they would never see. So he was an icon, or is an icon. He didn't need to score that goal, though.
Sorry, I didn't know that when I asked you that. I am glad I asked you that, but sorry as well, but yeah. Wow.
Bit of ambivalence towards that one, yeah. It was wonderful. I mean, and again, I want to see how Joleon gets on with his icon list, because Ronaldinho will be in there somewhere.
Also, I'm guessing Ibrahimovic is going to be on that list. Maybe. Oh, there he is. Oh, OK. Do you think this is going to change the way that this blind ranking gets done? I'm waiting for FG to get his phone out, by the way, and I'm expecting this selfie. Oh, they've given him a mic. Oh, my God, are we going to hear from him? Go over, go on, see what he's got to say. FG, speak to him.
The other side, yeah.
Wow, yes. I mean, as you can see, we are joined by footballing royalties. Zlatan Ibrahimovic joining us here on MatchDay Live. First things first, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Man City against AC Milan today. How do you see it going?
I mean, it's two great clubs, two great teams. And I think it's cool. It's a good thing for the fans here in US. Hype the game, make a nice game. But obviously both teams are in a preparation, so it's a heavy load, heavy legs, and it's more to prepare the season, let's say.
What are your memories of these two? Because off camera, I mean...
Bro, I remember the defender who destroys you and the little man that was like moving like a ninja. But he didn't grow 1 centimeter.
That's probably the politest I've ever heard him speak. Is that normally that polite?
No. Fantastic players, and everybody misses them, and happy to see you guys. Really.
Nice to see you as well.
In a different
environment.
Yeah, of course. Relax, relax.
Johnny, what was Zlatan like to face on the pitch?
No, Zlatan, he was, to be fair, the strongest player I played against. I backed myself strength-wise, and then one time we was in the Euros, and I went to buddy him, and he hit me, and I went, oh. I went out to one leg. That's the closest I came to falling over. So yeah, it's strong. It's strong.
Bro, you have any viewers in this Man City TV?
No, we got loads.
There's loads.
We got a lot.
You two.
Yeah, we got a lot.
Good job.
Say hello to our viewers at Manchester City.
Good job. Good job.
Let's ask about what's next for Zlatan then, shall we?
I mean, I retired 1 year ago, which is no secret. I got the opportunity to work for the club, AC Milan, after 3 months, and these guys can explain very good. When you go in a retirement, you get a totally freedom. You can do whatever you want. There is no schedule anymore. So I started to like it, but then I got an offer I couldn't refuse. So I took this role. I have a lot to learn step by step, but I have a lot to give also. So I'm enjoying a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility, but it's okay.
Zlatan, I've recently seen your son sign his professional contract. What is similarities he's got to you? What traits has he got of yours?
Okay, for my son.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not easy. Either I speak as a father or as my role. As a father, I'm very proud of him. He needs to work a lot, and he needs to earn his spot. It will not be easy, but mentally he's strong.
Yeah.
As long as he's happy and he really has the discipline, then you never know what happens. There is no guarantees in this game. Yeah. Everybody think it's easy, but it's the most difficult because it's the biggest sport. And how many wants to play the game? Everybody. So, but I'm happy for it.
Well, Zlatan, we're so happy to have you here. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
We're going to head back to the studio.
Well done. I love that. They just handed him a microphone, which is like the best way to do it sometimes. His description of Joleon and Shaun Wright-Phillips was my favourite I've ever heard. The big man and the little one that just does that. It was perfect.
What a guy.
What a guy.
What a guy.
I'm just reading as well that if you're wondering about his, I knew he'd get a selfie. You'll see that on FG's social media. Look, right now, he's posted it right now. We can't go back pitchside because FG's posting his selfie. Ibrahimovic is working as a senior advisor to the AC Milan's club's ownership and management. So, very nice. Senior advisor. There we go. So we are about 15 minutes, less than 15 minutes away from tonight's roughly 11 p.m. in the UK kickoff time against AC Milan. In the UK and in many countries around the world, you get the game live on City Plus with commentary from Michael Brown and with Alistair Mann. If you want to check where you are in the world, get onto the City website and it'll tell you where you can watch the game. You can see the City starting 11 there on your screen. A few of the academy names there that we are getting used to seeing on this tour, with a little sprinkle of the first teamers there. You can see there is Erling, there's Jack, there's Oscar Bob, Rico Lewis, and of course Edison is captain tonight as well. So yes, full match commentary. Watch the game live on City Plus. So in terms of some of those academy players that we're seeing coming through, we mentioned a little bit earlier on about how many we saw in the Celtic game, 14 academy graduates that were coming through. I mentioned Oscar Bob there and Rico Lewis, of course, academy graduates, but we've seen them a bit more than others. We've already mentioned James McAtee as well. But how important is this pre-season for them, for James McAtee, for Oscar Bob, for the players that have been on the fringes?
Well, as I say, from, say, McAtee's position, he'd been in the previous pre-season and then, as we said, gone out on loan. So he's had an opportunity, hopefully that loan period with Sheffield United has put him into a position now where this pre-season is him saying to Pep, I'm ready to be in the Premier League squad or the Manchester City season squad. Players I'm looking into the likes of Hamilton, who during last season had opportunities, Red Star Belgrade. I think he scored, did he not?
He did.
In the Champions League. Where they've done it in season last season, albeit cameo roles, now's a pre-season to follow, and we've already mentioned.
There you go.
Oh, here we go. Boom. Thank you very much.
There's Micah Hamilton's goal.
Yeah. I think there was a couple of first-time goals in that game, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't Oscar Bob score his first goal in this game as well?
Oh, your memory's better than mine, David. It's been a lot of games since then.
I think there was a couple of firsts. Anyway, the point being is that this was in a competitive game, so they've already had that competitive game experience last season. The pre-season is like whatever they've improved on during the season. The next step is to prove to Pep that when you see Rico Lewis, when you see Oscar Bob, if we go all the way back to Phil Foden, when you see that Pep will allow your quality youngsters to go through and represent during the main season, these are the games where you've got to prove it. And like I said, it's not just about being able to do individual skill better than anyone else. It's about fitting into a system that Pep has asked them to play in seamlessly without being greedy, and yes, the rest could be a marvellous story. They could even be ambassadors for the club in 25 years' time, like Zlatan, or maybe even taller than Shaun Wright-Phillips. According to him, he's quite tall.
Yes. I love the Micah Hamilton story as well, because of course you probably have seen it. We've all seen it, the pictures of him when he was a ball boy, going through to obviously scoring for the club in the Champions League. I love that. And Micah Hamilton, one of the many players that have been at the club since under-8, since youngers. There we go. Look at that. I love that so much, with Pep as well. One of the other players that started the game the other day that's been with the club from under-8 is Jemai Simpson-Pusey. He's 18, joined at 8. He captained the club for the FA Youth Cup victory earlier this year. What is the step up, Keith, like from being a captain? You're the captain of the under-18s, you've won the main competition in the country, and then all of a sudden you're in America with Erling Haaland and Jack Grealish. What is the jump? What is the step up like?
I don't think the step up with managing the environment, because they'll be used to having those players around them. But it's you're trying to jump into a team that's just won the 4th Premier League. So it's no disgrace that you're not going to become a starter in the first team at 18, 19. The tricky part is, for Pep and his team coaching staff, is about maintaining the players' progression. Now, how close they get to that first team, I think, if you have a look at Oscar Bob and Rico Lewis, the actual starts that they made, minutes played, that will be monitored. And then you're thinking, right, well, can you offer those players more minutes, enough minutes to have an upward progression in their player development? And sometimes there's nothing wrong with a player having to go out on loan. Like McAtee, who's gone out, he's learned and would have learned a lot playing for Sheffield United in those seasons, in those games, the preparation of starting games, recovering 4 games, and being at the competitive end of needing to perform, which is part of his development that needed to happen. And then with the young players coming through, there's no disgrace to saying, right, well, the manager says, well, you need to go out and learn your trade now. And again, because the other thing is, how long can you be around without having that competitive edge and playing? It's like being a number 2 goalkeeper. How long can you be a number 2 goalkeeper when you're growing up that you think, I need a taste of it? I need to be in that match day action. And sometimes you need to go down a division, sometimes go down 2 divisions, is probably more so as a goalkeeper, to get that exposure that you need, where everything you do counts and matters.
Love that. Love that. I'm so excited for this game. I really am, to see some of these young players. And just look at that absolutely stunning pitch out there. That is the live images coming from the Yankee Stadium. So in terms of, I don't know, it seems like a silly question because it could be absolutely anything. Who knows? Score prediction for tonight, David?
Well, Eddie's in goal for the first half, at least 6-5. No, I think I think we're going to see a much more polished performance, albeit, comparative to the Celtic, especially first half. I think City could win this 4-1.
Okay.
4-1.
Take that.
Yeah.
Keith?
3-0.
Oh.
I think
you're going for a pre-season clean sheet.
Yeah, straight away. I think there's going to be lots of energy on there, and I think there will be. They use it as they know sometimes you're only going to get 45, 50 minutes, and it's one of those, empty the tank.
Love that, Keith. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Right, we'll all be back at half-time and at full-time today. You're now going to get full coverage of the match on City Plus with commentary from the wonderful Alistair Mann and the brilliant Michael Brown. So thank you so much for joining us for Matchday Live. A very fun show. Who knew we were going to spend so much time talking about socks? OK, over now to your commentary. We'll see you at half-time.
Thank you, Natalie. myself and Michael are dressed in very sensible coloured socks for this one, but you can't see them, so that's probably half the reason why. We're waiting for the players to emerge at this most iconic stadium. It is in many ways probably one of the most famous stadiums in America. I've been very fortunate to be at the Yankee Stadium. I saw a baseball game involving the Yankees and the Mets. Today we're watching City against AC Milan. It is of course also the home of New York City, City's sister club. So we are very used to seeing soccer, as of course they refer to it, at this wonderful venue. At the moment, there are no players on the field, so it gives us an opportunity, myself and Michael Brown alongside me, to maybe reminisce about days when City didn't used to play AC Milan at the Yankee Stadium. Michael, what was summer pre-season like in your playing days?
Well, I think it was always slightly different, that's for certain, not going all the way around the world, especially my early days at Manchester City. It did develop into different trips like this later on in my career, but I remember a particular trip with Keith Curle to Isle of Man, which was very, very lively. I think that's as far as we went on the early stages in my career, but just look at that now. I mean, the players will be delighted to step out, all stadiums around the world, but this one in particular, the history behind it, just look at the iconic just pitches that we're just starting to see now. So these players will be delighted to be stepping out onto this field.
Yeah, it's changed a lot, of course, but it's been the home of the New York Yankees since 1923. So more than 100 years of professional sport has been played here. It has gone under many facelifts down the years, and of course since 2015 it has been the home of New York City. We're still awaiting the arrival of the players. The scheduled kick-off time is 11 o'clock UK time, but as is the way in American sport, I can certainly vouch for it, it'll be something like 10 past 11 before we finally get underway, 10 minutes behind schedule. So this is not unusual. There will be an anthem and all sorts of presentations and all sorts of ceremonial bits and pieces as well.
The weather looks good though.
The weather's great. Yeah, the weather is great.
It's good ahead of us when we've seen pre-season games with real big delays. So, you know,
yeah,
sun's shining. Looks like we're going to have a wonderful sort of game of football ahead, and that's what we want. I mean, it's a big game for lots of youngsters. Lots of players now just trying to get that fitness level up.
Yep. Well, the reason we're still not talking about the team news is that we'll wait until the players have actually gone onto the field to impart all the information. On the big screen and the side of the ground is the starting 11s, and we're all getting set for what should be a terrific evening in New York. The reality is that, of course, Milan are very popular in these parts. There is a huge part of New York City that is called Little Italy. There are just dozens and dozens of magnificent restaurants and a very large Italian community as well. So there is a genuine Italian feel, but almost everywhere you look you can see blue shirts, because of course it is the home of New York City, and the number of supporters clubs in the US is growing all the time, and many of the fans get up at the crack of dawn to watch live Premier League fixtures when they take place in the UK. Well, we're just about to hit what should have been the kick-off time, and there's still no sign of the players out there, which is a little frustrating, but as I mentioned earlier, it is something that you get quite used to when you watch American sport. I've been lucky enough to watch many American sports down the years. I've got family out in the States. I've seen many an MLS game, as well as baseball and basketball and ice hockey and one or two other sports as well, American football, and all of them kick off a lot later than they are billed, and regrettably this is going to be another such occasion. The AC Milan players have made their way out from the tunnel, and they're making their way out towards the side of the pitch. There's still no sign of the City players, so we still haven't got 22 players out there just at the moment. Waiting for the teams to emerge into this wonderful setting. It's a capacity now of 46,500. It's actually the 6th largest stadium that hosts baseball in the USA, and it is another occasion on which the Blues have played here, because they played at the Yankees Stadium back in 2014. We'll give you a quick look at the teams while we're waiting for the City players to arrive on the field of play. Of course, the Blues are still without several of those who went to the Euros, but Pep Guardiola's made 4 changes to the starting 11, which took to the field in midweek against Celtic. Ederson comes back in, and he's the captain as well tonight. He came on as a substitute at half-time, of course, for Stefan Ortega. The other 3 changes are all academy graduates. Callum Doyle, Mahamadou Sissoko and Massimo Perrone all are drafted in from the start after flying the flag for the academy with distinction against Celtic. The senior players involved include Jack Grealish and Erling Haaland. Haaland was captain against Celtic on Tuesday night. Rico Lewis and Oscar Barb are others who are regularly in Pep Guardiola's first team squad. Lewis and Bob both played 90 minutes on Tuesday. City players have now emerged. There are many substitutes available, and many of them we will see at some stage during the game. We'll have a quick look at the AC Milan lineup as well. Remember, they, like City, are still without several players who starred at the Euros, but they, unlike City, are fielding a largely senior side this evening. The likes of Davide Calabria, Fikayo Tomori and Alessandro Florenzi will expect to start their first Serie A game next month. Like Tomori, Ruben Loftus-Cheek left Chelsea for the San Siro, as did Christian Pulisic, who is among a number of senior substitutes on the bench for Milan this evening.